This is Granny Maggie from Granny Magic, Professor of Earth Magic at Dead University. I'm here to review a very exciting book that I received in the mail yesterday. I received a box that smelled so good, and it totally attracted my cats, which is a very good sign. And upon opening it, I found a gift from the sage goddess, Athena Perrakis, in this beautiful purple bag. It smelled so good, with a little card about peach moonstone, saying it was a gift that had been intuitively chosen for me. And peach moonstone is something I have never worked with before. So good job, Sage Goddess team. Thank you so much. I'm really going to enjoy working with that. But the exciting thing in the box was this very heavy, very large tome, Crystalpedia by Athena Perrakis Phd, otherwise known as the CEO of Sage Goddess. This book I have been waiting for. I have been looking a long time for a definitive crystal book that I could recommend to my followers. One that was based on science and at the same time understood how to work with crystals as an energy source. This book is the perfect hybrid of those approaches. I'm so much in agreement with the views expressed in this book. I'm amazed at the amount of information and the variety of stones. I've never had a book that covered this many stones so in depth before. I heartily recommend this book to my followers. It's also available at Amazon in Kindle form. What I'm going to do, I love this beautiful book, and I want to keep it by my bedside to enjoy for a while, but I also want to get the Kindle version to have on my phone as a ready reference. It's that good. When you open the book up, aside from these gorgeous pictures and introduction, it talks about the science of crystals. How do they work? Why have they historically always been so significant? And it really goes into, in depth, how the energy of crystals works with us, how it impacts our energy. And that's the point of view I take with crystals. And I love how beautifully she expresses some of what have appeared to be sometimes my little quirky ideas about crystals. I feel so affirmed by this book. And she really helps you to understand the solids, the shapes, the numerology, all the things involved that make crystals so powerful. And they're written in ways that you understand. It's wonderful. You have such a foundation. And she even has sourcing and caring for your crystals. Okay? And that's something you hear so many different opinions on. I really like what she expresses in here. And then she talks about how to work with crystals. She talks about, in general, for healing and for other purposes. This book is just so heavy. There's so much in here. And then the book goes on to list so many different kinds of crystals with gorgeous pictures. And each page lists a crystal, and it has just about every crystal I've ever thought of and more. I'm learning about some new crystals in here. And it talks, there's the key words that have to do with the correspondences of the energy of that crystal. And it has a little box that talks about the hardness of the crystal that gives you some idea of its strength. And it talks about what kind of structure it has, because that helps us to understand how its energy works. Its places of origin, It's chakra correspondences, the stones it partners well with, astrological correspondences. Down further, it talks about how to use it on your body. Where would you put it to use its energy in healing? And then it has a section for the beginner. If you're a beginner with crystals or a beginner with this particular crystal, working with it, best ways for you to get to know that crystal and to work with it. And then advanced practitioners, there's plenty for you in here. It's got a whole section for advanced practitioners that goes more deeply in how to work with that particular crystal. And then it has a little message of the energy that crystal kind of sends out. Makes a great affirmation when you're working with it. And then there's little tidbits of information. I'm glad these pages are so big and so well laid out, because there's just so much information in here. It could be overwhelming, but the way the book and the pages are structured, it's not overwhelming. And since I had never worked with peach moonstone before, I'm going to just double check in here and look up moonstone. And the moonstone page has pictures. And there's one exactly like my peach moonstone. And there's black moonstone, and turning the page, peach moonstone. And so when I look, I see the key words: creativity, emotional healing, inspiration. All things that I'm working on right now as I go through the growth phase of my business at the end of this year. And it talks about over here what it works well with and what it does, where to have it on healing, how to use it if you're just starting for the beginner. It supports you as you let go of what weighs you down, no longer serves you, encouraging you to learn from and forgive your past mistakes and permit the universe to fill you with all the things you desire now. Builds excitement about what lies ahead in life and supports you as you tap into your true creative potential. And then for the advanced practitioner, it talks a little more about how you can work with peach moonstone to get through these transitional times, how not to fall into apathy or depression, how to reconnect with your passion. And there's a little quote message for peach moonstone. There are no failures in life if you learn from everything you do. May you always know the depths of your own beauty, your own passion, and your own creativity. And that's the message the moonstone is sending. And it says, a little tidbit, did you know in Hinduism, peach moonstone is considered a stone of happiness and is given as a gift to celebrate life's milestones and new beginnings. And there's other cultural tidbits throughout this book. In the very back, there was, you think the book is ending and you think, well, this is more than enough. I'm really impressed. But the appendixes, she didn't waste any pages in this book. They're all filled with information. And in the back, she talks about daily rituals for working with crystals. And she talks about working with them, a crystal bath experience. Over here, this one I just love. It talks about incorporating gemstones to throw a divine dinner party. I love that so much. I'm excited to try that out. One of the suggestions, for example, she talks about the legend of amethyst in ancient Greece. And the Greek ancestors believed amethyst kept them sober and prevented hangovers. And so she suggests putting an amethyst piece in each guest's wine glass or chalice as a conversation piece. And then tell each guest to take their piece home and keep it at their bedside for a restful sleep after your gathering. I love that. And what a fun way to introduce friends and family to the power of crystals. And she goes on to talk about things people ask about a lot. Crystals for sleep, manifestation and success, other kinds of things. I'm going to need to read this because I don't know what this is. The Activation 11. I'm going to learn something there. So there's a lot for me to learn in this book. And I love her conclusion. She talks about gratitude to our great Mother Gaia, who has brought forward these incredible gemstone gifts from her womb. Love this book. Highly recommend. This is the crystal book you need, you want, and probably the only one. It just incorporates everything else from the other crystal books I have a huge shelf of, all in one in a very updated, modern, easily accessible format. All the crystals are in here. Some of the ones we've just begun working with that seem newer, they're in this book. All the variations are given their own pages because their energies are subtly different. I really recommend Crystalpedia by Athena Perrakis Phd from the Sage Goddess. This is the crystal book I'm now going to be recommending to my followers. And it's available wherever books are sold. Amazon, like I said, has it available. Sage Goddess has it available. And Amazon has the Kindle edition at a very reasonable price. So this is a book you can take with you when you go crystal shopping, when you meet with friends and the topic of crystals comes up, you'll have this resource at your fingertips. That's what I'm going to do. So thank you, Athena. Love your book.